Okay, guys, we're going to go back and look at each paragraph of the story. So, in the first paragraph, Jamal's wow, Jamal came downstairs dressed and ready to go, excited for the day to start. It wasn't just that it was Saturday morning. His dad was taking him to get a new bike today. He'd outgrown his old one months ago, so his parents had agreed to get him a new one. So we know in this paragraph that Jamal's getting a new bike, and we know from the title, Jamal's New Ride, that this whole story is going to have something to do with him getting a new bike. Hey there, said Jamal's mom, who was sitting at the kitchen table drinking a cup of coffee. What would you like to have for breakfast? It's the weekend. You get to choose. I don't know, said Jamal. I'm too excited to choose. How about pancakes? Asked his mom. Great, said Jamal. Is Dad up yet? So in these paragraphs, we learn that Jamal gets to pick his breakfast on the weekends. It's probably just a special time around his house. He doesn't have school and things like that. Yes, replied his mom. He's gone running. Don't worry, he'll be back soon, and you guys will be off to shop for a bike before you know it. Besides, you have to eat first anyway. So we know that his dad's the one that's taking him to get a new bike. Just then, Jamal's dad came in the back door. Hey, buddy, you ready for a big bike shopping day? Yes, said Jamal excitedly. I can't wait. Well, I'll shower while you finish breakfast and we'll hit the road. Okay. So we learn that his dad's excited too. He comes in, hey, buddy, are you ready? And they talk about it and they're going to leave soon going to get the bike. An hour later, Jamal and his dad were heading downtown to Life Cycle, the bike shop owned by his dad's friend Jordy. They'd taken his dad's truck so they could put the new bike in the back. So we know that his dad's going to be the one that's dad's friend's going to be the one that sells him the bike, and we know they're going with the intention of coming back with a bike because they drove dad's truck, so they'd have somewhere to put this new bike. So they're not window shopping; they're actually buying. When they walked into the shop, Jamal stopped quickly and he just stood there staring. Wow, he said, I've never seen so many bikes in one place. There were bikes of every color with different handlebars and seat styles. There were girls' bikes and boys' bikes and, of course, grown-up bikes. So we learn here that this is a bike shop that doesn't have a few bikes. This is a bike shop that has lots and lots of bikes. And they have bikes for everybody, no matter whether you're a boy, girl, child, adult. Everybody here can get a bike. Hi, guys, called Jordy, walking towards them from the back of the store. You're here to get your new bike, Jamal. Yes, sir, said Jamal. So we know that Jordy was expecting them. I'm sure Dad's already talked to him and told him that they were coming in. Well, we've got some pretty special ones here, said Jordy. I'm sure we can find something you like. You sure do have a lot of them, said Jamal. So Jordy is confident that they'll be able to find Jamal a bike, and Jamal is too because he says you sure do have a lot of them. Well, we like to give our customers a lot of choices, said Jordy. Now, why don't you come over here and look at the boys' bikes and see if there's something that catches your eye? I've already pulled a few for you to look at and put them out back in the test drive area. So we know that he's going to get to go through and look at all the different bikes and pick out the ones that he likes, and he's going to get to test drive them. He says, the test drive area, asked Jamal. We roped off the part of the parking lot so the customers could try out the bikes, said Jordy. It makes it easier for them to decide which bike they like best. So out back, they have an area where if you think you like a bike, you could actually take it out and ride it and see if you like it as much as you thought you would instead of buying it and taking it home and then figuring out whether you liked it or not. Jamal walked up and down the aisles of bicycles, his head spinning. Now we know his head is not literally spinning. He's probably just looking around in so many different places and so many different bikes that he feels like he can't keep up, and maybe like his head is spinning, but that's figurative language. His head's not really spinning around. How am I supposed to choose? He asked his dad. They're all so cool. Well, why don't you start with two, said his dad. Okay, said Jamal, looking around. Let's see. How about that blue one over there and the red one right by the door? So Jamal's a little overwhelmed. There's so many bikes. His head is spinning. He's looking around. He can't figure out which ones to get. So his dad says, Why don't you just pick out two that you like? We'll just start there. So Jamal thinks that's a good idea, and so that's what they do. Good choices, said Jordy, taking the blue one down from the hooks that held it up. Jamal's dad grabbed the red one and they headed for the back of the shop where the test drive area was. There were three bikes leaning against the building. These are the ones I pulled for you to try, said Jordy. But why don't you try the ones you chose first? Okay, said Jamal. He got on the red bike and rode it around the roped off area. As he returned to where his dad and Jordy were standing, his dad said, Well, it's cool, said Jamal. It rides okay. So we learned in these paragraphs that he goes outside. He has the two bikes that he's chosen, and he has three bikes to try that Jordy chose. So he's riding all of them, trying to see which one he likes the best. But I know just from this sentence right here, it rides okay. I know that he's not overly excited about any of them because it just rides okay. If it's the bike that you want to take home, you're going to be much more excited than that. Jamal's dad looked at Jordy. Not exactly jumping for joy, is he? Nope, said Jordy. I don't think that's the one. Jamal tried all the other bikes as well, but none of them felt quite right. So none of the bikes that he had outside are the right bike for Jamal. I'm stumped, said his dad. I like them all okay. I'm stumped, he said to his dad. I like them all okay, but there's not one that really stands out above the rest, so I'm not sure which one I like. Said Jordy. I think I might have just the bike for you. It's pre-owned, but we fixed it up really nice. It's a beauty. He headed into the shop. What did he mean by pre-owned? Asked Jamal. Pre-owned is just another way of saying that the bike is used. That someone else owned it, explained Jamal's dad. Oh, said Jamal. He had been looking forward to a brand new bike, so he wasn't sure about this pre-owned thing. So we learned here that Jordy says, okay, you don't really like any of those, but I think I kind of know now what you like. So I think I've got one, but it's pre-owned. Jamal didn't know what pre-owned was. They discussed it as someone when a bike is used. He's not sure how he feels about it because he had in his mind he was getting a brand new bike. A couple of minutes later, Jordy came back with a bike. It was lime green with a bright purple seat and sporty handlebars, and it looked brand new. Jamal even said, Wow, it looks like a brand new bike. So it didn't look like a used bike. Well, said Jordy, it hasn't been ridden that much. The boy who had it broke his leg right after he got it. And by the time he got the cast off, he'd already outgrown it. It was in such good condition, we let his family trade it in for a larger bike. Why don't you give it a whirl? So Jordy explains why the bike looks like a brand new bike. And he tells Jamal, why don't you try it? He hopped on the bike and he took off. He rode 4 or 5 laps around the test drive area. Then he circled back to where his dad and Jordy were. He had a huge grin on his face. This is it, Dad, said Jamal. It rides great and it feels really good. So we know that he's excited about this bike. He has a huge grin on his face. He says with excitement, this is it, because of that exclamation point. I know he's excited. It rides great, not okay, but great, and it feels really good. So we know this is it. Well, then I said his dad, I guess you have a new bike. Thanks, Dad, said Jamal. Thanks, Jordy. You're welcome, said Jordy. Now let's get you rung out so you can get on your new bike and get it loaded into the truck. So the deal is done. That's the bike that Jamal is going to get. And rung up means that he has to go pay for it. Like if they ring you up at the cash register, so they've got to pay for the bike, and then Jamal gets to take his bike home.